Hello friends, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Kanchan Singh, Coordinator, Department of Geography, Chaudhary Charan Singh University Campus, Meerut. Today, I am going to explain the Koppen's climate classification, which comes under the paper Climatology. First of all, let us discuss what could be the learning outcome of this module. While going through this module, you will be able to explain the design of climate, classification, name various measurements that characterize a climate group, explain combinations of letters associated with climate classification, discuss the typical characteristics of climates and their subtypes and the state, the climatic conditions and different seasons. Introduction. Climate is an average weather condition at a specific place over a long period of time, say 30-35 years and more, including absolute extremes of temperature, precipitation, etc. Factors such as latitude, altitude, prevailing winds, ocean currents, maritime and continental situations exercise direct influence in determining the climate. The classification of climates of the world is done in order to understand how different climatic elements form combination in different parts of the world. Although there are several ways in which climates of the world can be classified, the lesson is devoted to discuss the Koppen's classification of the world climates, which is most widely used. In this lesson, we will study the measurements, design and combination of major, main and subgroups of the world climates as developed by Koppen. Historical development in Koppen's classification. Vladimir Koppen, born in 1846 and 1940, a Russian-born German climatologist and botanist, attempted classification of world climates. Classification was first published as thermal zones of the earth in 1884 in Russian language. Scholars E. Volken and S. Bronian translated the work in German with several modifications. Koppen improved his own classification later on in 1918 and 1936. The details of climatic classification were published in Handbuch der Klimatologie. Later on, German climatologist Rudolf Giger, 1954 and 1961, collaborated with the Koppen on changes to the scheme of classification. Thus, the classification of world climates is also known as Koppen-Giger's classification, as the two authors co-authored the work and was widely adopted. Classification is based on the empirical study of the distribution of vegetation across the world. Vegetation as an index of temperature and precipitation. Koppen assumed that the vegetation is the most representative feature of precipitation and temperature. For example, tropical evergreen vegetation represents high precipitation and high temperature. Similarly, alpine vegetation represents high precipitation and low to very low temperature. It is commonly found in both higher latitudes as well as in higher altitudes, close to snow line. Deciduous vegetation represents high temperature and moderate precipitation in one season, followed by dry season with moderate to low temperature. Arid climates are marked with moisture deficiencies, while hot deserts have high temperature and low precipitation. Cold deserts have low temperature and low precipitation. The arid climates have xerophyte vegetation. Vegetation as an index of temperature and precipitation is also used to represent major ecosystems and biomes on the earth. The fact is plotted on the graph figure 1 to represent temperature along x-axis, it is to be noted that annual average temperature is to be plotted in such a manner that it begins with high values of temperature above 30 degrees Celsius and ending with very low temperature up to less than minus 10 degrees Celsius, whereas annual average precipitation is plotted along y-axis and it keeps on increasing in a manner that it begins with 0 and ends up to more than 400 centimeters of rainfall. Vegetation responses to precipitation and temperature anomalies, particularly during drought, is of great importance in semi-arid regions because ecosystem and hydrologic processes depend on vegetation condition. One of the important indicators of vegetation presence, abundance and vigor is the NDVI, Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. Since NDVI makes use of biophysical interactions where green plant canopies absorb much of the radiation, it seems to be well suited for studies concerned with photosynthetic capacity of vegetation cover. Studies conducted by Prasad et al. 2008 and Cannon Giulio et al. In 2011 have indicated that vegetation response to precipitation and temperature anomalies are of great importance. Delineation of climate regions. For the delineation of climate regions, Koppen considered the following elements: mean monthly temperature, mean annual temperature, mean monthly precipitation and mean annual precipitation. Therefore, Koppen's classification is based on the measurement of temperature and precipitation. Viewing its utility and applicability, FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, published a global climate map using Koppen classification in 1999. Now, design of climatic classification. Koppen's scheme of climate classification begins with English capital alphabet denoting prevalent vegetation type. It is followed by small English alphabets in second and third place, with exception to B and E group of climates. In B and A group, both the letters first as well as second letters are in capital alphabets. A brief discussion on capital and small alphabets used in the design of classification is made below. Capital letters in all, Koppen has used 10 capital alphabets in his scheme of climate classification, and expression of first 5 capital letters that denote vegetation zones is as follows: 1 A, which represents megathermal, B xerophytes, C mesothermal, D microthermal and E hekistothermal. Next 5 capital alphabets denote distinct regional characteristics. They are as follows: if there is F, it means permanently frozen, M, it means marine, S means semi-arid or steppy, T means tundra and W means waste or desert. Thus, these are the 10 capital letters. Now, small alphabets or letters. Similar to capital alphabets, Koppen has also used 10 small alphabets letters to denote area specific characteristics that supplement the major climate group. The first 6 small letters signify seasonal characteristics of precipitation. They are number 1 F, that means fused or precipitation round the year. It is followed by H, that is hot, it denotes a hot setting. K denotes cold setting, M is a monsoon, and small s means summer dry, small w means winter dry. The next is the level of heat. The next 4 small letters denote level of heat. Warmest month summer temperature is denoted by, if it is more than 22 degrees Celsius, it is A. If warmest month summer temperature is less than 22 degree, it is denoted by B. If temperature constantly more than 10 degrees Celsius, it is denoted by C. Then if average temperature of coldest month is below 38 degrees Celsius, it is called D, small d. Besides arrangement of alphabets, Koppen has also used following terms to denote. If there is potate, means potential evapotranspiration, and precip, that means precipitation. Thus, the climatic classification of Koppen is self-explanatory. It is convenient to place values as per the order of alphabets. Measurements in Koppen's climate classification. Now, we talk about measurements. Koppen's classification of world climates is based on two types of measurements. They are primary measurements as well as the secondary measurements. A brief account of these measurements is given. Primary measurements. The primary measurements are concerned with broad parameters that distinguish one major climate group with another. These measurements are related to critical values of temperature and precipitation conditions. The details of critical values have been given against major climate groups in a table. Tropical, it is, we have the coldest or warmest month temperature is more than or equal to 18 degrees Celsius. In dry, mean annual precipitation is less than 10 centimeters and the precipitation threshold is to be followed. Then mesothermal, here T hot means hottest month's temperature is equal or more than 10 degrees Celsius and it should be more than 0 degrees Celsius, and the coldest month temperature will be less than 18 degrees Celsius. Microthermal, temperature for hottest month is equal or greater than 10 degrees Celsius and temperature for coldest month is equal or greater than 0 degrees Celsius. In case of polar climates, T hot, temperature of hottest month is less than 10 degrees Celsius. Highland elevation has to be equal or more than 2300 meters, where T stands for cold, temperature in coldest month, T hot means temperature in hottest month, MAP means mean annual precipitation, and P threshold for precipitation threshold, and that is precipitation threshold which varies according to the following rules. One is, if the precipitation is 70% of mean annual precipitation occurs in winter, then P threshold is equal to 2 into MAT, mean annual temperature, and if 70% of the MAP occurs in summer, then P threshold is equal to 2 multiplied by MAT plus 2. Otherwise, P threshold is equal to 2 into MAT plus 14 only. Secondary measurements. Similar to primary measurements, Koppen's classification of world climates has also used measurements for secondary or subgroup of climates. They have been so designed to distinguish one subgroup with another. It also involves some elementary calculations to arrive at the critical values. The details have been given in a table. Combinations of alphabets as expression of climates. Based on the arrangement of capital as well as small alphabets, Koppen has developed combinations to explain the word climates. Now, these combinations have been explained. Combinations explaining climate types have been developed in 3 sets, that is 2-letter combination, 3-letter combination and 4-alphabet combination. A brief account of each of these combination group is presented as such. The 2-alphabet combination. The 2-alphabet combination has been used in 2 distinct ways. One way is to represented when both the alphabets in the combination are capital letters. For example, ET and EF, which denote polar tundra and polar frost climates respectively. The second way of 2-alphabet combination is that first letter in sequence is a capital letter, while second in sequence is a small letter. As usual, the first capital alphabet denotes the major vegetation group and the second small alphabet denotes seasonal characteristics of precipitation. For example, AF, tropical rainforest, AS, tropical with summer dry season, that is in eastern part of Tamil Nadu, India. and AW tropical climate with winter dry season, that is large part of peninsular India south of Tropic of Cancer, represent 2 alphabet combination. The 3 alphabet combination, now this combination is being used to denote vegetation, precipitation and thermal and locational characteristic of a climate type. It is mostly used to denote A, C and D type of climates. For example, AMW, that means tropical monsoon with short dry summer. CWG, mesothermal with dry winter in Gangetic plain of India. And DFC, microthermal humid with a short summer found in eastern Himalayan region of India. A 4 alphabet combination, this combination is commonly used to denote B group of any arid and semi-arid climate only. The first 2 alphabets are capital letters while remaining 2 are small letters. First capital letter alphabet denotes B, which is common to all subclimates, while the second capital alphabet could be either W, that means waste or desert, or it could be S, capital S, that means semi-arid. The third alphabet in this combination is a small letter and denotes the setting in which an arid or semi-arid region lies. It could be either in a hot setting. If it is in hot setting, it will be represented by H, or in cold setting by K. The fourth alphabet in the combination is again a small letter and denotes seasonal situation of the moisture deficiency. The climate subgroup may experience moisture deficiency either in summer season, then S, or in winter season, then W. For example, in case of arid desert climates, the subgroup may be either BWHW, hot desert winter dry season, that is Thar desert in India, or BWKS, that is cold desert summer dry, whereas in case of semi-arid climates, the subgroup may be either BSHW, semi-arid in hot setting or winter dry, or BSKS, semi-arid in cold setting, summer dry. Based on combinational arrangement, Koppen has divided the world in 5 major classes, 14 main and 29 subclasses of the world. A detailed scheme of climates of the world as proposed by Koppen is given in a table. There could be some additional minor climates as well. Now, you can see spatial pattern of climatic classification. The spatial pattern of climates can be studied based on the sun's angle of incidence on the earth. On both sides of equator up to tropic, a group of climates prevail. From equator up to 10 degree in both the hemispheres, subgroup of climate AF is found. It is closely followed by AM subgroup along coastal margins. The 2 subgroups AW and AS extend up to tropics. While AW subgroup is quite common, AS subgroup is rare. Arid of B group of hot climates are found along the western margins of the continent. However, along the eastern sides of the continents in low latitudes up to 30 degree mesothermal or C group of climates are found. These climates are also found along western sides of the continents around coastal margins. D group of climates are found in temperate zones, interior parts of the continents and in eastern margins of the continents. E group of climates are usually found in higher latitudes or in higher altitudes. Along Arctic and subarctic regions, such climates are common. Maritime influences play a decisive role and a balancing role in determining a climate and biological situation. Similarly, prevailing winds easterly adds to humidity proportions along eastern margins, while westerly winds add to humidity proportion in western margins of the continents. Figure has been represented, world map of climate classification as attempted by Koppen. Now, we discuss the characteristics of climate. major group of climates. Now, a brief account of characteristics of major climates is provided for appreciation of Koppen's classification of world climates. Now, A group is a tropical climates. These climates are commonly found in tropical belt of both the hemisphere. It is characterized by consistently warm with all months averaging above 18 degrees Celsius temperature. There is no winter season in this climate. Annual precipitation is high and exceeds potential evapotranspiration. There are three subdivisions of tropical climates. AF, they are tropical rainforest climates. Climate is characterized by rainfall throughout the year with average precipitation of at least 60 mm in every month. Because of hot and wet conditions throughout the year, tropical rainforests occur in this part of the earth. Towns such as Kisangani in Congo, Singapore and Hawaii in United States of America are typical examples of this type of climate. AM, tropical monsoon climate. This type of climate is characterized by short dry season registering less than 60 mm precipitation in driest month. Rainfall occurs excessively during summer rainy season, marking the surface moist throughout the year. Consequently, it supports the growth of dense forests which shed their leaves in dry season. It is typical of monsoon climate. Abidjan in Ivory Coast, Jakarta in Indonesia, Yangon in Myanmar and Chittagong in Bangladesh are typical examples of the climate. AW or AS, tropical wet and dry or savanna type of climate. This type of climate is known as tropical savanna or grassland. Winter season is usually dry, while summer season is dry in AS type of climate. The amount of precipitation in driest month is less than 6 centimeter. The water balance remains deficit during dry season and surplus during wet season. In terms of vegetation, tall grasses with scattered trees around are common sight in this type of climate. Mumbai, India, Dhaka, Bangladesh, Dar es Salaam, Tanzania and Darwin in Australia and Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam are typical examples of winter dry climate. And Chennai, India is a typical example of summer dry AS type of climate. Now, we discuss dry climates. Dry climates, this type of climate is characterized by a scarcity of moisture. The potential evaporation potate exceeds precipitation. The threshold values can be calculated in the manner that mean annual temperature refers to MAT into 20 plus 280 if 70% or more of the total precipitation is in summer months, or MAT into 220 degree Celsius plus 140 if 30 or 70% total precipitation is received during spring and summer months, or MAT into 220 Celsius and if rainfall is less than 30% of the precipitation is so received. If the annual precipitation is less than 50% of this threshold, the classification is BW, that means arid or desert climate. If it is in the range of 50 to 100% of the threshold, the classification is BS, semi-arid type climates. Precipitation is less than half of the potate. BWS, these are low latitude, hot desert, atmospheric conditions are hot and dry with an average annual temperature above 18 degrees Celsius. Khartoum in Sudan, Doha in Qatar and Death Valley, United States of America are the examples of the climate. BWK, these are mid-latitude cold deserts, atmospheric conditions are cold and dry with average annual temperature less than 18 degrees Celsius. Turpan in China and Nukus in Uzbekistan are typical examples of this type of climate. Semi-arid climates, these climates are characterized by precipitation more than half of the potate but not equal to it. As such, semi-arid conditions are characteristic feature of these climates. There are two subdivisions of semi-arid climates. They are BSH, these are semi-arid tropical steppe climates where average annual temperature is more than 18 degrees Celsius. These climates are usually found in the neighborhood of hot deserts. Lahore in Pakistan, Odisha in USA and Niamey in Niger are the examples of this type of climate. BSK, these are temperate steppe climates where average annual temperature is less than 18 degrees Celsius. These climates are usually found in proximity of cold deserts. Baku in Azerbaijan, Denver in USA, Lhasa in China and Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia are the examples of this type of climate. There could be fourth small letter to denote summer dry, that is S, or a winter dry, that is W, with B group of climates. Now we discuss the C type of climate. C type of climate, this type of climate is characterized by mesothermal conditions in which average temperature of the coldest month averaging between 0 degrees Celsius to 18 degrees Celsius and at least 1 month averaging above 10 degrees Celsius. The subdivisions of climate are CFA. These are subtropical wet climates. Precipitation occurs throughout the year. It is characterized by long and hot summer seasons. The average temperature of hottest month is 22 degrees Celsius and above, and at least 4 months averaging above 10 degrees Celsius. As compared to it, winter season is a shorter and temperatures do not reach the extreme. Buenos Aires in Argentina, Srinagar in India, Shanghai in China and Osaka in Japan are examples of the climate. CFB, it is a temperate marine climate with adequate precipitation in all the seasons. Summer season is usually warmer. However, temperature of the hottest month is less than 22 degrees Celsius. Coldest month averaging above 0 degrees Celsius. Winter season is marked with normal temperature conditions. Paris in France, Amsterdam in Netherlands, Port Elizabeth in South Africa and Melbourne in Australia are examples of this climate. CFC, this is a subpolar marine climate which is relatively cold in winter season. Summer season is short. The average temperature for minimum of 4 months is around 10 degrees Celsius. No significant precipitation difference between the seasons. Alaska in USA, Punta Arenas in Chile and Reykjavik in Iceland are examples of this type of climate. CSA, this type of climate is found in the interior areas of Mediterranean Sea. Summer season is hot and dry, but winter season is normal and wet. Madrid in Spain, Dushanbe in Tajikistan, Perth in Australia, Beirut in Lebanon are the representative stations of the climate. CSB, this type of climate is found in the coastal areas of Mediterranean Sea. It has a short summer season which is dry and hot. The winter season is usually favorable as it receives rainfall. The average temperature of the hottest month is less than 22 degrees Celsius. Santiago in Chile, Cape Town in South Africa and San Francisco in USA are representative stations of this type of climate. CWA, this is a subtropical monsoon climate. Summer season is hot and wet. Temperature rises to more than 22 degrees Celsius for at least 1 month. Winter season is normal and dry. Islamabad in Pakistan, New Delhi in India, Kathmandu in Nepal and Hong Kong are the representative stations of this type of climate. CWB, it is a highland type of climate where temperature remains less than 22 degrees Celsius in hottest month. Winter season is cold and dry while summer season is warm and wet. D type of climate, now these climates are called temperate climates. They are also called as microthermal, in which normal minimum temperature of the coldest month is less than minus 3 degrees Celsius, while normal temperature of warmest month is above 10 degrees Celsius. There are 8 subclasses of this group of climate. Together these climates account for about 21% of the Earth's land surface. It equals to about 7% of the total surface area of the Earth. DFA. This climate is located in continental areas close to the polar front zones. The annual range of temperature is high and weather is highly variable. Summers are warm and winters are cold. Precipitation occurs in all the months. It is found in central and eastern parts of Eurasia between 40 and 55 degrees north, New York City in USA, Almaty in Kazakhstan, Beijing in China and Seoul in South of Korea represent this type of climate, DFB. This type of climate is found in Eastern Asia, China, Korea, Japan, and more rainfall occurs in summer season and there is a dry winter. The climate is generally found between 45 degree to 60 degree north latitude. Sapporo in Japan is a typical example of this type of climate. DWA, this is a monsoon influenced hot summer humid continental climate. It is commonly found in northeastern USA and southeastern Canada. Both coniferous and deciduous forests are found in this type of climate. The climate is characterized by moist continental with short period of summer dryness. Pyongyang in North Korea and Tianjin in China are typical examples of this type of climate. DWB. This type of climate is found along oceanic margins of the continents in higher latitudes. It is wet climate with long dry and severe cold winters season, short and cold summer season. Vladivostok in Russia and Pembina in USA are representative stations of this climate. DWC. It is a subarctic climate characterized by long cold and dry winter season. Summer season is short and mild. Moron in Mongolia and Yushu city in China are examples of this climate. DWD. This type of climate is found in the proximity of subarctic region. It is characterized by long dry and extreme cold winter season. Summer season is short and mild, warm. Yakutsk in Russia and Oymyakon in Russia are examples of this type of climate. DSA. This type of climate exists only at higher elevations adjacent to areas with hot summer Mediterranean Sea. CSA. Climates. Sanandaj in Kurdistan, Iran, Hakkari in Turkey are examples of this type of climate. DSB. It is a warm, dry summer continental climate. Temperature recorded in coldest month averaging less than 0 degrees Celsius. All months with average temperature less than 22 degrees Celsius and at least 4 months averaging more than 10 degrees Celsius. There is at least 3 times as much precipitation in wettest month of the winter as in driest month of summer. Sivas in Turkey, Rogun in Tajikistan and Dras in India and Bridgeport in California, USA are examples of the climate. DSC. It is a warm, dry summer subarctic climate. Temperature recorded in coldest month averaging less than 0 degrees Celsius and 1 to 3 months averaging more than 10 degrees Celsius. There is at least 3 times as much precipitation in wettest month of winter as in driest month of summer. Homer in Alaska, USA, Mount Olympus in Greece and Handud in Badakhshan province of Afghanistan are examples of this type of climate. DSD. Places with this type of climate have severe winters with temperature in their coldest month lower than -38 degrees Celsius. Senachan in Magadan Oblast, Russia is a typical example of this type of climate. Now finally we come to E type of climate. E type of climate, they are polar, they are also called alpine and montane climates. This type of climate has every month of the year with average temperature below 10 degrees Celsius. ET, it is a tundra type of climate. It is characterized by short summer season. The normal temperature of warmest month ranges between 0 degree to 10 degrees Celsius. Stanley in Falkland Islands, Mount Wellington in Australia and La Rinconada in Peru are examples of the climate. ETF, This is a polar climate. It experiences glaciations throughout the year and temperature remains below freezing point. Mount Fuji in Japan, Nuak in Greenland and Esperanza Base in Antarctica are the examples of this type of climate. EF. This type of climate occurs in Antarctica and inner Greenland. It is also experienced in extremely high altitude on mountains. Temperature never exceeds 0 degree, that is 32 degree Fahrenheit. Mount Everest in Nepal, Mount Ararat in Turkey and Vostok Station in Antarctica and Summit Camp in Greenland are the examples of this type of climate. Now, climate types and the biomes. It is well elaborated with these words that different types of climate all over the globe. Their types and subtypes are very clearly dealt in numerous previous paragraphs. As explained above, that the vegetation is very well correlated with annual average temperature and annual average precipitation. It is apt place to at least say a little about the outcome of temperature and precipitation. In the form of vegetation, though we are not dealing here about the vegetation, but still you can have a glance on the world map and the figure 3, which is showing the distribution of different types of vegetation. In very short, it is quite evident that the good amount of temperature as well as precipitation is prerequisite for proper growth of a vegetation. Apart from other factors like soil types, fertility, therefore, whichever higher annual average temperature is associated with good amount of precipitation. Very dense vegetation type is seen like in equatorial region. Higher temperature but lesser amount of precipitation results into hot desert and semi-desert found associated with less vegetation. Very low temperature is retarding factor in the growth of vegetation. Wherever very low temperature is found, the vegetation growth is less and hence it is a cold desert. Intermediate conditions very clearly show that biotic life accordingly. Therefore, the climate types and types of biomes are very closely correlated. Now, we discuss some of the criticisms of Koppen's climate classification. Some of the weaknesses that Koppen's climate classification are, they are given. Number 1, climate elements such as air pressure, air masses, humidity, etc. have not been considered despite their effective role in the characterization of climate. This is one. Then mathematical calculations using computers could have offered more reliable results. Landforms play a decisive role in the distribution of vegetation and climate. Characterization of landforms have not been included in the scheme of climatic classification. Direction of wind and distribution of water and land bodies exercise considerable influence on climate conditions. The inclusion of these factors would have improved the climatic classification qualitatively. Aspects of climate change and occurrence of extreme events deserve to be found some space in the classification because of its increasing consequences. Despite some of the weaknesses, Koppen's classification of climates is considered to be most scientific as it is based on the empirical data and inductive approach. It is widely used classification of the climate. It is easy to decode the climate type and understand its thermal, locational as well as seasonal characteristics. Summary and conclusions. Now, Koppen's classification is based on the empirical relationship between climate and vegetation. The classification provides an efficient way to describe climatic conditions defined by precipitation and temperature and their seasonality. Climatic conditions identified through Koppen's scheme of classification are relevant both for plant as well as animal life. Therefore, Koppen's scheme of classification is significant ecologically also. The classification is widely used to map long-term climate and associated ecological conditions. It is simple and easy to work out the type of climate if alphabet capital letters are known Similarly, if data on temperature, precipitation and seasonality is available, it is easy to code the climate type. With the increasing incidence of extreme climate events, there has been an increasing interest in using the classification to identify changes in climate and potential changes in vegetation, animal and human life forms. The most useful significance of Koppen's climate classification is that it helps to predict the dominant vegetation type based on climatic data and vice versa. From different scientific reports, it has been established that more than 5% of all the land area worldwide had moved from wetter and colder classification to drier and hotter classification. That is the significance of this climate consideration, and I thank you for giving a patient hearing